in a sport, on the ski slopes. And what you're really saying is, come on, let's head up the mountain. The ski instructor is ready to take us down a run we've never done before, and that is the run called Letting Go. And that's what I want to thank you for sharing that with us. Consistently you share that.
The other point is that we are the ski instructor, as well as the guy
and the mountain
being shown. Yeah, we are absolutely
one with the mountain.
There's another way of getting out of fear, and that's laugh.
Yeah,
that's laugh.
That's right. It takes us right out of our throat into our gut.
Oh yeah. Once you start laughing, you can't feel fear and laugh at the same time. You can't, and it's a very, very good way of breaking this stuff out, because when you break it down and you see these Illuminati bloodlines running this control system, and you see these people in uniform who haven't got a thought in their head that hasn't come from the rule book, and you see these people in dark suits administering the system who, again, have a crack in the top of their head and a rule book in it constantly being scanned when any decision has to be made. It's kind of hilarious, really. It is hilarious. the way that we live our lives in. How do they get out of it? Well, they raise the debt ceiling. as if the same thing's not going to happen eventually. I mean, it's hilarious. And as well as sorting it, we need to laugh at it because it takes its power away.
And what a good way to wrap and bring up Bill Hicks again, because you did mention part of this quote, and you've used it before in your talks with Gal. I used it in Melbourne, and you said, Bill Hicks said, all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration. We are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we are the imagination. And that is from a comedian who was sharing the teaching, as you said, from the standpoint of, hey, if we can get people out of their throat chakras into their guts, there's a liberation experience going on, and what a way to do it. And I know you share that.
Yeah, he was a very, very enlightened guy, and it's a pity he went when he did, because I think he could have made a bigger contribution. But had he had more years in this world, but he used humor to open people to another level of awareness, both of the way the system is controlling people and also of the nature of our true self. And he did a fantastic job, Bill Hicks, and I would have had great rapport with him had I known him at the time.
Yeah, I went out and got a good friend who jumped into my life, a brother who's a very funny, dimensional being, and a comedian as well. His name is Bob Saget, and Bob trips my wires, and that's what it's about, is taking you out of the realm of expectation. And I remember we were talking about techniques, whether they are meditation techniques, overtone chanting, cerebral hemorrhages, journeying techniques with drums. My take is, it's how you approach the technique. If you're approaching it to get something, you're in trouble. If you're approaching it because you already resonate with that feeling of it, well, what a gift that is. But all these techniques are like strategies. And so the real issue that I see it as being is not which strategy each and every one of us will implement, because our actions, our thoughts or non-thoughts or non-actions are all like some kind of strategy, but it's where we do the strategizing from that allows us to break free of the hypnosis of the program. So either we're doing the strategy out of anger, fear, and separation, or from our gut, from our center, and then it's like even we get freed up in whatever strategy we do, because there's this one phrase. I want to hear what you think about this phrase. It said, all things conspire to inspire. And that's why I feel you bring so much out there, because all things do conspire to inspire.
Well, they do, as long as you allow them to inspire you. And again, as we conclude, we're coming around to the language of life. Your experiences in life conspire, if to use that phrase, to show you something. And thus, if you see what they are conspiring to show you, you are inspired to go to a much greater perception of yourself and the reality you're experiencing. So, in that sense, yes, it's absolutely right.
And that's just where we started. Exactly. When we were talking about initiation, I before we started recording our get-together, I gave you my little intro into you, and you said the phrase, life is the initiator. Everything in life is a process of that initiation that is taking place, whether we're even conscious of it or not. It's already present.
You know, and the thing is, we can take the hint early, or we can take the hint when it's so in our face, we think our life is over, and the waters break. It's a choice, like everything. It's just a choice.
Well, every night we all get...
Life for me...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying life for me is choice, experience, and move on. Choice, experience, move on. Choice, experience, don't see what the experience is telling you, stand still. Choice, experience, don't see what the experience is telling you, stand still. That's the choice.
You know, I can add something to that, because choice is always a big thing where people are dealing with making the right choice or afraid of making the wrong choice. But what I found is that skiing downhill or living in a relationship that's speeding up and going intensely, as you let's take it heading downhill on a pair of skis, you're going so fast. You're going faster than being able to make a choice. In fact, you're surrendering to make a choice puts you in control, because the idea of making a choice is an idea that you have control, but you actually have control as life speeds up. I mean, when life was in the 50s and 60s, it was so slow. It was like on Quaaludes. But as it has sped up so quickly and is going faster than ever, it's like when you're driving. I got to drive a race car at one time, going so fast that it was beyond thinking, like skiing downhill very quickly, beyond thinking, and that it wasn't about making choices, but being able to respond. And I then termed that my responsibility, my ability to respond, because it was going faster than my mind's ability to try to plan it out. But such as meeting someone you love and hanging with them, if you have to plan a script, you're not loving them. But if you can respond spontaneously before you think about it, then you're in a state of circulation. And we'll call that Tantra, and maybe that's another talk another time for us. Tantric sex is really hot, man. I gotta tell you.
Well, I mean,
of all the techniques, people can do shrooms. People can.
When it comes to that sort, of stuff, it's not my area at all. I'm funny enough, you know, I've lived alone now for 5 years.
Right.
I have no interest in relationships of that kind. I have no interest in sex at all.
Yeah.
And because everyone to their own. But what living alone for 5 years has done, because I'd always not lived alone, even from when I was a kid up to that point, is it's allowed me to be.
Right.
And I get up in the morning and I do what I do until I go to bed.
Right.
You know, people say, you must have something else in your life. Well, I have my family, and I go and watch my boys play football, and I've got my grandchildren, but my life is what I do. And I in so many ways, I don't see my life as a life. I see it as a job.
Right.
It's like my feeling is I've come to do a job, and I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to go home. Well, wherever you are is home, because we're everything. Well, you know what I mean. And so I've had the situation up to 5 years ago where I was interacting with other people all the time in at home, and having to look to an extent acted in ways that were kind of acceptable, neutral, and all that stuff. But because I've lived on my own for 5 years, I can just I don't have anyone else to, if you like, to please or not to upset. I can just sit here.
only yourself.
Well, myself is, of course, is everything. Like all ourselves are everything.
Yes.
But what it means is that I can go with where my intuition, where my heart it takes me, and you know, if that means sitting at the computer all day for 15 hours, as I was in the summer writing a book against a very tight